Hola and welcome to a new episode of the Roofless Dog and Pony Show. My name is Julian Panisello. I am the dream alchemist at Roofless Painters, a free range art school, atelier, and gallery for present day romantics. With thanks everyone. With each episode we reveal the theme of our next painting collection, so you can find out what we will be painting next and also the reasons why. So we do this every 2 weeks, by the way. So our premises, themes, collections are bi-weekly now. We used to do it every week, and it was a lot of fun. But it's nice to have an extra week to sort of like work on your painting and develop it and elevate it a little bit more. So we will explain where the painting theme for this new collection comes from, and also how it relates to our contemporary time. We tried always to make a conceptual connection between what we paint and what we experience. We will also explore different possibilities for visual representation of the concept of the week using images of paintings throughout art history and getting inspired by those paintings, seeing visual examples, and also citing stylistic and historical references, sort of like as a way of understanding that we're not isolated, and there have been several representations of the concept before, and for several reasons. So it's a good way to expand our inspiration. So our episodes are like our paintings, messy, unpredictable, and unvarnished. We are a combination of exploring and hoping that things make sense. So just bear with us if there's any disconnection or technical difficulty, but I think we should be okay. So you can find this episode and many more. This is episode 70 on our Instagram feed, on our YouTube channel. We have a YouTube channel, so you just type Roofless Painters and you'll see all the videos. And also as a podcast in any podcast platform, you type the Roofless Dog and Pony Show and you'll see a bunch of those episodes. If you prefer to listen to this while you drive or you're trying to fall asleep, which works wonderfully. So you are welcome to contact us either now during the live session or after, or commenting on any of the platforms. With any contribution to what we are going to present, just because we know that, or we humbly stand to be corrected. So if there's anything that you think we should address, or we missed, or we should correct, please just reach out to us. This is a collective effort, even though we're presenting it this way. So we started doing it last year, but this is also an open call. So you can produce, create, and contribute your painting of the theme to the collection. So don't feel like you have to attend our sessions, which are fantastic and incredible, and you should. But you can just also do it on your own and just share an image, and then we'll be happy to consider that painting to be part of the collection. So this is our second collection of 2022. We started really strong with white flags. We're going to send a newsletter at the end of this week, or this weekend rather, showing all the paintings that people created for the series. So it was a really wonderful, good, technically and also conceptually way of entering or breaking through the beginning of 2022. So our next theme, I'm just going to show you a painting. I hope this works. Yeah, so our next theme was suggested to us because we had scheduled a painting session at the Lowe's Hotel in Santa Monica, which happened last night, and it was wonderful. And the team actually at Lowe's suggested to paint a glass of water because we are at the beginning of the year, and the New Year resolutions essentially happen the first few hours of each new year, and they last a very short time. But most of those resolutions have to do with health, with well-being, and we thought this could be a good symbol to reaffirm our commitment to take care of ourselves. And also, we are finding that perhaps this year, more than any other year, painting could be seen as one of the most important things we could do to keep our mental health in check and to keep thriving. So a glass of water as a symbol of health, well-being, that will be the subject of our painting collection. There is no other explanation, except we have two other conceptual reasons for it. Number one, because the famous American painter Wayne Thiebaud passed away this past Christmas Day on the 25th of December. And he lived a very long life. He was 101 when he passed away. And he's famous for painting still lifes of really colorful things like cakes and lipstick and chewing gum and also other objects. But there's this painting by him that we love, and that it came up last year. And when he passed away this past month, we sort of like remembered this specific painting. So just like anything in this wonderful, beautiful universe and earth that we live on, there's nothing random. There was this proposal of doing a glass of water, painting a glass of water, and then remembering this specific painting by Wayne Thiebaud. So I'm going to show several images of other paintings by other artists, all the way back from the 1700s to contemporary painters. But before I do that, let me see if I can find this. This will be a 30-minute presentation, so or less. Anyhow, there are a couple of quotes by him that are wonderful, and they hopefully will serve as a confirmation that as painters, what we do is
to help you do that.
What we do is wonderful. So he said, "I think of myself as a beginner. Sometimes that's the whole joy. If you just could do it, there'd be no point in doing it. I think of myself as a beginner. Sometimes that's the whole joy. If you could just do it, there would be no point in doing it." So we have like a quote in our website also by, I forgot the name of the painter, but I'll remember, mentioning the idea of always painting as if you would start for the very first time. We usually say that every single painting feels like the very first one. So reading this by Wayne Thiebaud felt really good. If we knew what we were doing, there would be no excitement in doing it. So this idea of every time when we get to paint, we don't really know what the heck's going to happen. It's not just something to be ashamed of or to be afraid of. It's something that's really good and precisely the point of it. And there's another one that, yeah, I love this one. It's more related to this specific theme, a glass of water. If you stare at an object as you do when you paint, there's no point at which you stop learning things from it. If you stare at an object, as you do when you paint, there's no point at which you stop learning things from it. So the power of observation, which we talk about very frequently, how we are losing our engagement to observe something for a longer period of time, and our brains are getting atrophied because of it. When you look at something, when you observe it, you discover things constantly. It's endless. And by discovering, we mean also learning. So this will be, as it happened last night when we did this for the first time, an opportunity to discover and learn, just looking at a glass of water. Learn from it, understand the rich, wide range of colors and values and edge qualities that something so simple provides. So I'm going to go ahead and then just show a few examples. The oldest example is this painting by a French painter, JeanBaptiste Simenon Chardin, Glass of Water and Coffee Pot, 1760. So he was a really famous still life painter, and this was the oldest version of a glass of water that we found, and obviously we're just gonna do a single glass of water, but there's something really nice about pairing this object with something brownish and umber and neutral and muddy. So first example, and the glass of water, if you notice, he was known for adding a lot of texture on the canvas. We think of the painters from the 1800, 1700, 1900 as having like flat surfaces. But I cannot expand a glass of water, but there's a lot of texture and there's a lot of simplicity, and it's not overworked at all. The brushstrokes are broken and pixelated and fragmented, and I wouldn't dare to say impressionistic because there's a different definition of that, but it's quite simple. So painting something representational is a game of using tricks that only painters know and they shouldn't share with anyone else, that help create the illusion of something. Something all of a sudden appears. Sometimes we know what we do, so sometimes we have no idea, but the goal or the magic happens when an illusion is created. So with this concept or with this subject, I'm not talking about concept yet, but with this subject, there will be an opportunity to experiment and practice brushstroke to create an illusion. So this is our first example. We found a Van Gogh painting. This is still up with a glass of water and a blossoming almond branch. So something about contemplating and observing and having mundane objects near you. As a painter, sometimes, your options are very limited, and finding very simple objects around you, they may do the trick. So I think this is a different stylistic example. There is less emphasis on likeness and more on expressive brushstroke and color choices. So you can see the texture of the glass and the simple approach to the water line, the see-through, the surface of the water. So it's very monochromatic, and then he plays with something that we're excited about. It's the cast shadow, the transparency of the light through the glass, and how this sort of like dance of light and shadow happens on the surface where the glass sits. That's right. So another stylistic example and historical reference of a fairly common subject. There are dozens, if not hundreds, of paintings of glasses of water in contemporary platforms. You can find lots of them, which tells you that this is a very accepted and beloved subject. So I think conceptually there's something about that feels good. Let me see if I have the actual. Oh yeah, this is a David Hockney, line work, and it is an etching. I'm sorry, an etching. I just wanted to make sure that I had the right information. So it's titled Postcard of Richard Wagner with Glass of Water, and it was done in 1973. And it's line work, it's not painting, it's an etching, but compositionally we think, or we believe, this is interesting, and the way the glass is actually situated in a higher place on the painting, on the format, and how he plays with the idea of surface by adding an image underneath. And also there's the writing on the paper. So there's something that we find playful and unpredictable. We talked about it last night. The opposite of beautiful is not ugly, because ugly has power and it grabs you and it's intentional. The opposite of beautiful is predictable. So no one really cares about something that we may have seen a million times. So this is an example of unpredictability and how engaging that may be. So composition is going to be a big theme we're going to talk about tomorrow during the webinar. So some of the pieces I may not have the information. Oh yeah, I have the information. So it just didn't get properly cropped. This is a painting by a contemporary artist. His name is Duane Kaiser, I believe. Duane Kaiser. So he is a contemporary painter that became well known in the early 2000s, or I would say the 2010s maybe. I don't even know if that's, yes. He started a blog. He painted one painting a day, and he got picked up by several newspapers, and he became well known, and that was his shtick, and he still does it. So he has a Instagram account, Duane Kaiser, and a painting a day, something like that. So he just paints one piece a day and in one shot, and one of the paintings is a glass of water under the sun. And I'm going to read a paragraph of something related to his work, something that he, almost like a little art statement that he wrote in the ancient blog platform that he used to have. If mindfulness can be defined as the simple act of noticing things, then this blog is a kind of meditation. For me, these paintings are about the pleasure of seeing, of being cognizant of the world around me, and pushing to find an alchemy between the paint, my subject, and the moment. I view each piece as being part of a single ongoing work. So it's a really interesting artist statement that crystallizes the act of painting, the approach to painting, the conceptual benefits of it, and also beautifully illustrated by a painting. So that's Exhibit A of what he just wrote in the blog a while ago. So the words meditation stand out. The words pleasure of seeing stand out. The words, what else? I would say meditation, pleasure of seeing. So going back to observation and how important it is. So this could be a good opportunity. And stylistically, there's a lot of abstraction in painting. So when we say figurative versus abstract, I think it's an unfair polarization. So it's mostly, we don't see it as a divided territory, and then you are given the chance to stand behind one of the spaces. It's mostly both happening at the same time. Sometimes you take a little bit more from abstraction, and sometimes you lean in more into figuration. But I think this subject will give us an opportunity to have like a figurative structure and an opportunity to explore abstraction within it. So, and this was done in 2015, this painting, I believe. I also have a really interesting example. Okay, perfect. So this is a painting by William Scott. He was a member of the Royal Academies. He was British, or a painter from the UK, 1913 to 1989. And this was painted in 1958. And it's titled Blue Still Life. So we don't exactly know if these are glasses or not, but we think that stylistically these would give us an opportunity to contemplate something that is not associated with our idea of what a good painting, what a painting should look like. So he was very famous at the time, and I'm going to read a paragraph from the Christie's page. There was an essay, a brief essay about his work that I think conceptually it could be inspiring to do a glass of water. The 1950s was a breakthrough decade for Scott, culminating in the British Council selection of 20 of his paintings for display at the Venice Biennale. So that Venice Biennale toured Europe. And the description goes to say that he painted this in Venice. So he was lent an art studio in Venice for the duration of the Biennale at the time. He painted a series of 16 by 20 inch canvases, and this is one of the paintings. The series consists of just the subjects are just a few bowls and pans on a tabletop, and this is the juicy part. William Scott is most often admired for his inimitable brand of still life paintings, populated by the pots and pans of his mother's kitchen, forms which the artist explained in an interview in 1954, I have dreamt about since I was a child. There exists in Scott's still lifes a contrast between the austerity of his subjects, symbols of the life he knew best, and the sensuality with which they are depicted. This dialectical relationship between austerity and sensuality is evident in Blue Still Life. So that is kind of like conceptually beautiful. The austere and sensual combined together and speaking to each other. So another example. And then I'm just gonna move to another painting, and we have 4 minutes. So I think this will be, well, this is like a contemporary piece. Let me see. This is a contemporary piece by an artist that we talked about. His name is Julian Marrow Smith. He's also from the UK, and he also does the daily paintings, but he did it after the other artist, so he's not as well known, and he lives in Provence, and then he paints things around him. So stylistically, we thought this was a beautiful example using high keys versus the low keys, which means the painting before was very dark and using black and shades of black, but this as a very pale high key usage of colors, and the transparency is essentially recreated by the slight gray contours of the glass. So there's a little bit of distortion of the background, but again, using some very minimal touches to create an optical illusion. And we'll talk about how to do this in the webinar, but we will finish this presentation. Again, we're painting glasses of water, and you can do it like you can paint it from live, a la daily painting, or you can take a photograph. But it will be interesting to practice different light scenarios for the subject, indoor, outdoor, sunlight, artificial lighting, different glasses, going back to memories from your childhood perhaps, or things that you may remember. And also I forgot the last conceptual reason why we do this perhaps. And it's last year we did a series painting devastated landscapes in California. Okay, so yes, I was saying that we are still experiencing. So a glass of water could be a way to acknowledging and understanding that this is something we shouldn't take for granted. Clean, drinkable water will be more scarce and not available for millions of people in, I would say, in the near future. I would say now. Clean drinking water is a luxury. It's something we take for granted, and we can choose where to drink it from. So this could be a good opportunity to recognize the importance and the scarcity of this incredible liquid. And on that note, let me just read, and to end this presentation, let me read May Sarton's poem. I don't know when she wrote it, but May Sarton is a poet that wrote this little brief playful poem. I'm hoping I can do a good job. A glass of water. Here is a glass of water from my well. It tastes of rock and root and earth and rain. It is the best I have, my only spell, and it is cold and better than champagne. Perhaps someone will pass this house one day to drink and be restored and go his way. Someone in dark confusion, as I was, when I drank down cold water in a glass, drank a transparent health to keep me sane after the bitter mood had gone again. So join us tomorrow. We'll start the collection with a webinar. We'll have several opportunities to join at Trails Cafe, studio time. Thank you, Dina. Studio time next Friday. And so we have 2 weeks to paint a glass of water. We invite you to join us in painting this collectively together. We exchange a lot of information and knowledge and experience, so it's always a bonus and a plus. But you can also do this on your own and then send us an image of your version. Thanks everyone, and this was really good. Bye.